What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. I hope you guys are well. Now, today's video, it comes on the back of something that I've been saying ever since I left school and something that I've been campaigning for, and I've heard a lot of people wanting this implemented as well, and that is financial education in schools. I believe that financial education should be taught from sort of a very young age, from primary school all the way throughout secondary, so when a student leaves school and goes into the adult world, they understand the basic concepts of money and financial instruments that they are going to be using every day. Now what I'll do is I'll actually share a meme on the screen at the moment. Now this is something that I seen on social media where this lady mentions that why did we not get taught about bills, insurance, council tax, mortgages, ISAs, credit scores, investments, etc. at school? Whose idea was it to think that, yeah, let's just let these kids figure it out for themselves when they turn 18? So it looks like I'm not alone. The reason I wanted to implement it is because when I stepped out of school into adult life, straight away you're picking up a job, straight away you're thinking about getting onto the property ladder, straight away you're thinking about buying a car and making some of the biggest and most expensive purchases in your life going forward. And you weren't taught in school anything regarding these. Now, I have no issues with the subjects that are taught in school, so maths, drama, music, history, etc. Not got a problem with them. However, in mathematics class, we were taught sort of addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, percentages, and fractions. So you were sort of taught mental maths. However, you weren't actually taught about the concept of money and financial products, such as mortgages, loans, debt, credit cards, financing and budgeting, and many other topics that the lady actually spoke about in the meme. And when I left school, I was just hoping that someone would have taught me even the basics. I don't really need to know algebra and Pythagoras and trigonometry. It's a good skill to know. However, I will probably be the 9 out of 10 people that aren't really going to use that going forward. However, if I was told about mortgages and APR and loan agreements and how financing works, then I would be able to make more informed decisions when out of school and getting on in further life. So why am I doing this video? Well, I'm an avid follower of Martin Lewis and the guys over at Money Saving Expert, and in their recent newsletter, Martin actually talks about why we need financial education in every school for every child. And it's quite good to see that something that he's been campaigning for over 20 years. He did have a textbook that he published and only a few schools picked it up that were willing to teach money to children. However, I think it should be a universal thing that's taught to all schools all around the world, and they maybe do, but in the UK it's not really taught. They're taught maths, but they're not taught about mortgages. The likelihood of you needing to use algebra once you're out of school is probably low unless you're a maths teacher or your job specifically requires that skill. However, you will be wanted to get onto the property ladder, so an understanding of mortgages and large loans is really good. You will most likely be buying a car, and if you're not buying that via cash, then you'll be taking out a loan agreement, so a hire purchase or leasing a car, and having a bit of knowledge on how that works would just benefit you in making that decision of buying a car. Again, with debt as well, so credit cards, how do credit cards work? I actually remember speaking to a few students when I was at university who told me that they know what a credit card is now. However, when it was aggressively marketed to them, they thought it was just money on a card that they could use wherever they wanted to, which is right in theory. However, they forgot about the other side of the story, which is that they need to pay that money back. So that's why a lot of these guys unfortunately got into a lot of debt when leaving school. Now, although Martin's been campaigning about getting this pushed into schools all over, it's something that I believe should have happened from the start. Not everybody's parents or grandparents are money savvy or financially literate, so they might not be able to tell you about these products, or they might have already made mistakes themselves, which if they weren't really educated, they'll be passing it down to you and agreeing with a sort of stupid loan or a credit card because they did it and they just weren't taught either. So it is sort of a domino effect. It will just keep going on and on and on until this is taught in school. Because I come back to my main point, which is you will need these skills. 99% of people will be buying a house, will be taking out a credit card, will be getting into some sort of finance agreement or loan agreement. And I think it's the school's responsibility to make sure that these children are taught all the skills so when they leave school they can actually make informed decisions. I'm pretty sure there's people out there who have a mortgage but don't really understand how it works. For them, there was a price of a house and they took out a loan for that house, not really understanding the percentages, the APR, the loan to value, and even consider overpaying. They must have taken out a car, didn't really understand the loan agreement and how long the loan is and what the percentage is and the future guaranteed value. For example, there'll be people out there who take out a credit card and don't really understand what it is. So although these products are out there and available to people, for young people that don't fully understand them, they are very likely to make very, very dangerous and costly mistakes, which could affect them for the rest of their lives. So although Martin has been pushing this for schools, I'm not sure if it's getting implemented in every school, but he has talked to Parliament about it. However, if you're a student and this has not been taught at your school, or you're a parent who homeschools, or you're someone that wants to know before you leave school, then I've got a short checklist here of 6 topics that you can read into and try and grasp an understanding, because it's obviously a lot of information and the video would just be hours and hours long. However, people need to consider themselves lucky that there's plenty of information online and on social media and on YouTube that discuss these topics that I'm about to talk about. And once you have an understanding of these, you'll be a bit more prepared and have that skill on your belt. So when you actually step out into life, or if you're a parent watching this, you're wanting to teach your child, once they step out of school, they'll have an understanding and most likely won't make very, very expensive mistakes. So the first topic is savings. So in savings, you can talk about ways to save, interest, how interest works, money, and mental health, because a lot of people's mental health is closely linked to money. So if they're in debt all the time, then that can lead to depression, etc., etc. Second topic is making the most of your money. So budgeting and keeping a track of that budget. So it's not just about one day you open up Excel and you plot in your income and all your outgoings and then you just leave it. A budget is all about keeping on top of it and also making changes and identifying problems. I actually covered that in my last video where I spoke about once you do a budget, the aim of that budget is to keep you right, but it's also to highlight problems in your income or your spending. So if you're not making enough money, your budget will highlight that and you can either cut your expenses or earn more money. And equally, if you've done everything you can to cut your expenses, then the budget will highlight that as an income problem and you're not necessarily overspending. So that's why keeping a track of your budget is also something that will be in that topic. Ways to pay, value for money, and spending. So these are something that should be covered in the making the most of your money section. The third section is borrowing. So debt. How does debt work? What is APR? Borrowing products and unmanageable debt. So again, it's not all about the income side of things and increasing your wealth and getting onto that corporate ladder and working your way up. It's about managing your money and the spending habits and the debt side of things as well. Fourth is after school and the world of work. And in that you can cover off student finance, you can cover off apprenticeships, earnings, tax, pensions and benefits. A lot of students that leave school will most likely be taking a part-time or a full-time job or stepping into a very long career. And a lot of these guys go to work, put in the hours, get a pay slip, that gets binned, and whatever their take-home pay is, they use that to live on. They don't have an understanding of what tax code they're on, if they're contributing to pensions, and if they are, how much, how pensions actually work, what is national insurance, what tax bracket are they in, and why they're paying that much tax, as well as any benefits that they are entitled to based on what they're actually earning. So it's a very, very important one, that one. The next one, number 5, would be risk and reward. So that's where you would cover off investments, gambling and insurance. Now, a lot of people earn money and they do focus a little bit on saving, which is fine, but a lot of people need to also look at investing their money as well for the long term, for the future. It's not just a case of putting £50 or £100 aside every paycheck, because that is just money sitting there which is just losing its value as the years progress. That's why a good investment is just something that should be on your agenda to get involved in. And the last one is security and fraud. So identity theft, online fraud, and money mules. Now, a lot of people, again, that step out of school, think that a bank is 110% safe and protected. Yes, your money is protected up to £85,000 in the UK in a UK bank account. However, online fraud is absolutely rife at the moment, and one can be easily a victim of impersonation, for example. And it's good that this is taught alongside money, because it's something that is a risk that could happen to any one of us going forward. So to summarize, this is just a video to express how happy I am that it looks like financial education is going to be taught to every child in every school. It's something that I've thought about a lot, especially once leaving school and taking out these products. I had to go and ask an elder family member or do some online research in depth to actually understand if what I was doing was wrong, or if it was right, or if it was financially sound and sustainable, or if it was pretty much a scam. But if I was taught that in school, as opposed to other skills that I was taught that I've never really used in my life, then it would have made me a better person and more prepared for the future. So again, if you found this video helpful, then definitely like, share, comment and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thank you.